The first question is, oxygen is utilized by the organisms to directly or indirectly break down simple molecules like glucose, amino acid, fatty acids, etc. to derive energy to perform various activities. Here it is directly or indirectly. Here it is indirectly. What is breathing and respiration? The process of exchange of O2 from the atmosphere with CO2 produced by the cells is called breathing and also known as respiration. Mechanisms of breathing depending mainly upon their habitats and levels of organizations. Levels of organization. And next, lower or higher, vertebrates or invertebrates like dash, dash and dash etc. exchange O2 with their CO2 by simple diffusion. By simple diffusion. Here, lower invertebrates. Lower invertebrates like sponges, coelenterate and flatworms. Sponges, coelenterate and flatworms exchange O2 with CO2 by simple diffusion. These are lower invertebrates. And next, how simple diffusion occurs? Simple diffusion occurs over their body surface. Simple diffusion occurs over their body surface. And how earthworm breathes? By moisture cuticle. Insects have a network of tubes called tracheal tubes. Tracheal tubules. Special vascularized structures called gills. Respiration through gills called brachial respiration. Gills are used by which organisms uses gills for respiration? Here gills are used by aquatic amphibians and mollusks and fishes. Vascularized bags. Vascularized bags called lungs. Vascularized bags are used by aquatic or terrestrial forms for the exchange of gases. Here aquatic or terrestrial. Here terrestrial is the correct answer. Respiration through lungs called pulmonary respiration. Respiration through lungs called pulmonary respiration. Respiration through gills brachial respiration. Respiration through lungs pulmonary respiration. Here among vertebrates fishes use dash whereas reptiles, birds and mammals respire through dash. Among vertebrates fishes uses gills for respiration and reptiles, birds, mammals respire through lungs. Amphibians like frog can also respire through skin. Correct or incorrect? Yes, it's correct. Frog can also respire through skin. Nasal chamber opens into nasopharynx. Larynx or pharynx open through larynx or pharynx into here. Pharynx opens through larynx into trachea. Pharynx opens through larynx into trachea. Dash is called sound box. Larynx is the sound box. Larynx is a muscular or cartilaginous. It is a cartilaginous box. Epiglottis is a thin or thick muscular or cartilaginous flap. Epiglottis is a thin cartilaginous flap. Epiglottis prevent food entry into pharynx or larynx. It is a PYQ. Epiglottis prevent food entry into larynx. Trachea divides at which vertebrae? Trachea divides at which vertebrae? At the level of fifth thoracic vertebrae. T5. Which are the structures supported by incomplete cartilaginous rings? Incomplete cartilaginous rings. Trachea, primary and secondary and tertiary bronchi and initial bronchioles. Alveoli have regular or irregular wall. Alveoli have irregular wall. Alveoli are vascularized, not vascularized. Here, alveoli are vascularized. Dash is present between two layers of pleura. Pleural fluid. Pleura is double layered. Outer pleural membrane is close in contact with outer one. Outer pleural membrane close in contact with thoracic cavity. And inner layer is close in contact with lung surface. Pleural fluid function is lubrication. It reduces the dash on the lung surface. It reduces the friction on the lung surface. Conducting part Ncert terminal bronchi. Respiratory part is formed by alveoli and their ducts. Alveoli and their ducts. Respiratory part is also called which part of the respiratory system? It's also called as exchange part. Exchange part of respiratory system. What are the functions of conducting part? The functions of conducting part are transport air to alveoli, clears it from foreign particles, and humidifies and brings the air to the body. And next, thoracic chamber is anatomically airtight chamber, not physiological. It is anatomically airtight chamber. And next, the thoracic chamber is formed by dorsally and ventrally and laterally and lower side. Here, thoracic chamber is formed dorsally by vertebrae, ventrally by sternum, laterally by ribs, and lower side by diaphragm. Can we direct alter pulmonary volume? No, we can't alter directly pulmonary volume. Any change in volume of thoracic or pulmonary cavity will be reflected in the thoracic or pulmonary cavity. Here, any change in thoracic cavity will be reflected in pulmonary cavity. Change in thoracic will reflect on pulmonary cavity. Inspiration occurs when there is a positive or negative pressure in the lungs with respect to atmosphere. When there is a negative pressure, Then inspiration occurs. Inspiratory muscles are diaphragm and external intercostal muscles. And muscles used in forceful expiration are abdominal and internal intercostal muscles. Abdominal and internal intercostal muscles. Increasing the volume of thoracic chamber in the anterior-posterior axis by diaphragm. In dorsoventral axis by external intercostal muscles. Dash muscles lifts up ribs and sternum. External and intercostal muscles lifts up ribs and sternum. Breathing rate of healthy human is 12 to 16 times per minute. Volume of air involved in breathing movements can be estimated by using spirometer. Negative or positive pressure breathing occurs in humans. In humans, negative pressure breathing occurs. Next, define TV. TV means tidal volume. What is tidal volume? The tidal volume means the definition of tidal volume is volume of air inspired or expired during a normal expiration, during a normal respiration, and the value of tidal volume is 500 ml per one time. Per minute, its average calculation is 6000 to 8000 ml per minute. Next, define IRV. IRV means inspiratory reserve volume. Additional volume of air. Additional volume of air a person can inspire by a forceful inspiration. When a person is breathing, then additional volume of air when he is inspiring through forceful inspiration. The value of IRV is 2500 to 3000 ml. And define ERV. What is ERV? Expiring reserve volume. Here ERV means additional volume of air expired by forceful expiration. And the value of ERV is 1000 to 1100 ml. And define RV. RV means residual volume. The volume of air remaining in lungs even after forcible expiration is called residual volume. Volume of air remaining even after forcible expiration. And the value of RV is 1100 to 1200 ml. And next, define IC. IC means inspiratory capacity. Inspiratory capacity means total volume of air a person can inspire after normal expiration. Total volume of air a person can inspire after normal expiration. Total volume of air a person can inspire after normal expiration. Formula and value of IC. Formula for IC is IC equal to TV plus IRV. and the value is TV value 500, tidal volume and IRV 2500 to 3000. So the total value is 3000 to 3500 ml, the value of IC. And define EC. EC means expiratory capacity. Expiratory capacity means total volume of air a person can expire even after normal inspiration. Expire after normal inspiration. Total volume. The total volume of air a person can expire after normal inspiration is called EC. Formula and value of EC means formula is EC equal to TV plus ERV and the value is tidal volume 500 plus ERV value 1000 to 1100 ml. And next FRC. FRC means functional residual capacity. Functional residual capacity, which means volume of air that will remain in lungs after normal expiration. And the formula of FRC is ERV plus RV. Define vital capacity. Vital capacity means the maximum volume of air a person can breathe in after forceful expiration or breathe out after forceful inspiration. Breathe in after forceful expiration or breathe out after forceful inspiration is called vital capacity. Formula and value of vital capacity are, the formula of vital capacity is VC equal to TV plus ERV plus IRV or TV plus IRV plus ERV. TIE, TIE. Define TLC. TLC means total lungs capacity. The volume of air accommodated in lungs after forcible inspirations. That is TLC. Formula for TLC. TLC equal to TV plus IRV plus ERV plus RV. Here TV plus IRV plus ERV also written as VC plus VC and plus RV. And value. Formula for value of TLC. Okay. Dash volume can't be measured by a spirometer. Residual volume. Dash capacities can't be measured by spirometer. FRC and TLC. FRC equal to ERV plus RV or TLC minus IC. The approximate value of FRC is 2100 to 2300 ml. Dash are primary sites for exchange of gases, alveoli. Rate of diffusion is affected by, first is concentration or pressure gradient, next is solubility of gases, third one is thickness of membrane. Here the table from Ncert partial pressures. First, atmosphere, alveoli and deoxygenated blood and oxygenated blood and tissue. Here PO2 and PCO2. Here the partial pressure of oxygen in atmosphere here is 159 and CO2 is 0.3. And here there is a trick to remember this. 40, 40, 40, 40 and 45, 45, 95 and here 104. Next, solubility of CO2 is 20 to 25 times higher than that of O2. What are the three layers of the diffusion membrane? First, thin squamous epithelium, endothelium of alveoli. Next, basement membrane. Total thickness of diffusion membrane is less than 1 mm. Percentage of O2 transported by RBC is 97 and 3% by plasma in dissolved state. CO2 is carried as carbaminohemoglobin or carboxyhemoglobin. CO2 is carried as carbaminohemoglobin and carboxyhemoglobin, which is CO. Percentage of CO2 carried as carbaminohemoglobin is how much percentage of CO2 is carried as carbaminohemoglobin? That is 20 to 25 percentage. Percentage of CO2 transported in the form of plasma, that is 7%. Dash percentage of CO2 carried as bicarbonate, that is 70%. And binding of oxygen is primarily related to partial pressure of oxygen. Each hemoglobin molecule carries how many molecules of oxygen? 4 molecules. O2 bind to hemoglobin in a reversible or irreversible manner. Factors that interfere O2 dissociation curve are partial pressure of oxygen, partial pressure of CO2 and H plus and temperature. Which curve is obtained when percentage of saturation of hemoglobin with O2 plotted against PO2? The curve is sigmoid curve. Conditions for left shift are PO2 and pH higher, PCO2, H plus temperature are lower, and left shift occurs at lungs. Left lungs high PO2 and high pH, and conditions for right shift are PO2 pH lower, PCO2 H plus temperature higher. And conditions for right shift occurs at tissues. Every 100 ml of oxygenated blood can deliver how many ml of O2 to tissues? 5 ml. The major factor which affect CO2 and hemoglobin binding is partial pressure of oxygen. Carbonic anhydride is completely absent in plasma. Correct or incorrect? It is incorrect. Carbonic anhydride catalyzes the formation of H2CO3 from CO2 and H2O. Every 100 ml of deoxygenated blood delivers dash ml of CO2 to alveoli. 4 ml. Deoxygenated. Respiratory rhythm center is present in medulla. Dash is primarily responsible for regulation. Respiratory rhythm center. Center present in pons is dash, which can moderate the functions of dash. Center present in pons is called pneumotoxic center, which can moderate the functions of respiratory rhythm center. Signals from dash center reduce the duration of inspiration. Signals from pneumotoxic center can reduce the duration of inspiration. Here most of the students gets confused. A chemosensitive area situated adjacent to dash and is highly sensitive to dash and dash. A chemosensitive area situated adjacent to respiratory rhythm center is highly sensitive to CO2 and H plus ions. And receptors in tissues present peripherally like dash and dash recognize CO2 and H plus concentration. Here receptors presented peripherally like aortic arc and carotid artery. Oxygen plays a major role in regulation of respiration. Here is it is correct or wrong? Here it is incorrect. There is no role for oxygen in the regulation of respiration. Asthma means difficulty in breathing causing wheezing due to inflammation of bronchi and bronchioles called asthma. Respiratory surface is decreased in emphysema due to damage of alveoli. And emphysema is a acute or chronic disorder. Emphysema is a chronic disorder. Cigarette smoking is one of the major cause for emphysema, not minor. It's a major cause. Fibrosis occurs in which respiratory disorder? ORD. Occupational respiratory disorders. Occupational respiratory disorders happens to people working in industries involving in grinding and stone breaking. ORD happens due to failure of dash mechanism of body. It's a failure of defense mechanism of body. Long exposure to dust gives rise to dash and leading to dash. Long exposure to dust gives rise to inflammation and leading to fibrosis. And what is fibrosis? Fibrosis means proliferation of fibrous tissue. And now diagrams. This is the diagrammatic view of human respiratory system. Here A is trachea and B is pleura and C is alveoli and D is diaphragm. This is the NEET 2023 question. And here mechanism of breathing A and B. Here air is entering the lungs. It is inspiration. Here air is expelled from lungs. It is expiration. Here diaphragm is contracted. Here diaphragm is relaxed. And next, here A is the alveolar cavity and B is the RBCs and C is the squamous epithelium and D is the basement membrane. And here this is the diagrammatic representation of exchange of gases at alveolus and the body tissues with blood and transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Here systematic arteries PO2 is 95 and PCO2 is 40. And here systematic veins PO2 is 40 and PCO2 is 45 mmHg. And this is the oxygen dissociation curve, and on the x-axis partial pressure of oxygen and on the y-axis percentage saturation of oxygen hemoglobin. Thank you.